Okay, great. All right, well, welcome everyone. Thanks so much for being here for the first ever RISC-V Virtual Career Fair. I'm Megan, and I've been working at RISC-V International for 2.5 years as a program manager. I'm currently focused on Learn initiatives and advocacy, and you can always feel free to reach out to me at megan@risc5.org. You can see the spelling of Megan in my picture. So again, feel free to reach out to me. First, I want to say thank you to the speakers who have been doing such a great job on recording these talks and actively participating in this. They've got really big jobs, and we're so grateful they were able to tell us about their career paths and job opportunities within their companies. And to attendees for showing up and showing your interest in career opportunities in RISC-V. We hope you find these talks helpful and informative. First, I'm going to just start with a few housekeeping things. So I just want to make sure you all saw the code of conduct. If you scroll up to the very top of the chat, you'll see I put a bunch of links in there. All of those links are also available on a website, the original website that you registered for, the same website that you entered the event from. So if you want to see any of those links, they're stored there. If you feel like, oh, I forgot to copy and paste them, don't worry, they're stored there. We're going to keep them there. So first one is code of conduct. Just please abide by the code of conduct, be respectful to everyone, and you can read the full details there. If you have any questions during the session, please put them into the chat. You'll see that there's a section along the top called chat. Feel free to put any questions in there. If you have any issues during the event, you can feel free to direct message with myself, Helen, or Thea. And just so you know, we're going to do a midway break for anyone that needs to take a quick break from their computer. But during that time, we're also going to do breakout rooms. So you'll be thrown into random rooms with other people, and you'll have 10 minutes to sort of network with them and just meet other people that are in a similar spot as you, looking for jobs. I also do want to let you know that the recording of all of the talks will be available at the end of this. This recording we're doing now will be again, on the website, the event website that you entered from. We're also going to break them all down for YouTube, so you'll be able to see each individual talk on YouTube. And again, those links are what I posted earlier. The speaker slides, if you're looking for speaker slides, if the speaker made them available, they're going to be within the speaker bio. Again, that's coming from the direct website that you entered from. If you scroll down a little bit, you'll see each of the speaker. You can click on them. You can see a bio about them. Some of them provided their LinkedIn, their GitHub. Different links and resources from them are there. And if they provided slides, their slides will be available there. So just something for you to know. And at the end of the talks, I'll go through some of the educational programs and let you know about a fun giveaway that I found out about yesterday. So I'm really excited. You all are the first ones to hear about it. So it's going to be fun. So please stay till the end. And I guess before we start our talks, I just want you to know that we know career paths and education can be overwhelming, but it's our goal to be your one-stop resource on education and job opportunities that involve RISC-V. So please see that we're a resource. And without further ado, let's start the talks. Thanks, everybody. All right, let's see if this works.
It has a few different settings.
Can you hear it now?
It's both a line light and a heat lamp. So buckle up if you're stepping into the light, because it can be the best of times, and it can also bring about challenges. And those challenges are formative. Those are the challenges that make you and build your career and accelerate you into your next move. So let's get started. 10 thoughts. First, I think it's fundamental that you're able to match your career with things you're passionate about. For me, I've always wanted to change the world in some meaningful way, and so I chose organizations that acted on that level. Maybe you'd like to act more on a local level and more in an industry or more in a specific technology. Match your career with your passion. It is amazing the energy that you bring to your role that then permeates the others in the organization. And this can be so much, this makes your job so much more fun if you go to work each day filled with passion for what you're pursuing. Second, choose a company you believe in. You know, it's very important that you understand, what are their core values? Are they financially driven? Are they socially driven? Are they trying to push the state of the art? Are they trying to innovate? Or are they trying to satisfy mass needs that we've had for a long time? And in that company, in that culture, woven into those core values, you will see their culture. And a culture where everyone is treated as equals, as the folks around you are your colleagues that you can lean on and they can lean on you. It starts to create a beautiful relationship. And that culture of colleagues may look different depending on what the org chart looks like, but look at those role models, those examples, and how do they interact with one another. Think about roles with high visibility. Think about how can you show your best work in front of key executives, key decision makers. What can you bring to the table that will help the business, that will help you, that will help your career, that will help the overall mission of the organization you join. And if you step into that growth part of the business, think about what you're doing to engage and cultivate your relationships with colleagues at all levels. Not just stepping into that limelight, but also engaging with those key executives. Because you know what? At the end of the day, everyone counts. Everyone counts in tremendous amounts. Fourth, look for stretch assignments. Think about, how do you expand the impact that you're able to make above and beyond your role? Of course, get your job done. I mean, that's the position number one. You need to start with a solid understanding of what is the role you're engaging in, and then think about, like, how can you grow that role? Oftentimes in technology, we look for, how can I get rid of the mundane parts of my job? How can I program myself out of these everyday tasks that are taking too much of my time? Use that time wisely to look for opportunities to go the extra mile, and of course, the extra mile for things you're passionate about. Solve problems that matter. Think holistically. What is the issue? What is the goal? What are you trying to get at? What are you trying to solve? And think about that in a holistic sense, in a strategic sense, in a broader sense. Like, who matters to what you're working on beyond the doors of your company? Think about that, and think about it in ways that you can bring your team with you. Engage everyone around you. Build a deep network. This is both engaging with your colleagues as well as making new friends and building new relationships outside of your organization. When you contribute to the success of others, I promise it'll come back to you. You will establish and cement your reputation for the success you bring holistically and to the relationships you forge. Be the one they can trust, the one they can count on, the one they see going the extra mile. And about role models. Emulate the behaviors, the strategies, the actions, the tactics, whether it's how to manage your inbox or how to speak on a stage. Emulate the role models that you see around you. And by the way, those leadership traits and those best practices and best habits don't just come from the leaders of an organization. In fact, we all have so much to learn from one another. So look at those traits, those habits, those things that you see in others, and start to build them into your own version of yourself and bring that to work each day. Build authority, build leadership, lead anything. It doesn't matter. Maybe it's the company picnic. Maybe it's the next strategy to, land the next RISC-V chip on Mars. It doesn't matter. Lead something. Figure out what it is. Do great at your job. Step out and beyond that to lead something. Reflect. Reflect often. Think about what's working, what's not working. What can we do better? How can we solve something better together? Learn how to articulate that and collaborate with your peers and colleagues around you. That actual collaboration is what is going to forge trust and responsibility in the relationships that you build at work each day. It's important in that context to make sure all the voices are being heard. Is there someone that, probably has a meaningful point of view that we haven't heard from yet? Maybe they're in the room or maybe they're outside of the room and we should engage them. Who does it matter to? And make sure that they're also engaged. Look for those opinions. Look for those spaces to create for others to be heard. Finally, be humble. Be the role that others look up to, others look to. It doesn't need to be a hierarchical relationship. Be the one that folks can count on. Think about how in your role, no matter where it is in the organization, how are you lifting others up? How are you lifting up the organization? How are you pursuing the next steps forward for the business? How are you able to lift others up? Sometimes that's through that collaboration that we've been talking about. So those are my 10 thoughts of the day. Now, I've got a bonus round. A bonus round on why engage in the open community. For decades, we've been talking about open source software. In fact, the statistics you see on this page are mind-blowing. These numbers, we have to use shorthand. They're in millions and billions and hundreds of thousands. The impact is global. The workloads that ride on top of open source today are profound and critical. The financial systems, the airline systems, many different systems that we rely on for our everyday life are dependent on some level on open source. That is a powerful community to become a part of. This is an area that is high in demand. More than 90% of employers are looking for folks who know how to collaborate outside of the organization into these communities. And there's a place there for every one of us to build our careers, to build eminence, to build our reputations as great collaborators. That frontier of open collaboration makes massive differeces to business. 4 times the return of every dollar put in is reaping huge rewards. In Europe, they said, European companies invested $1 billion in open source software in 2018. This economic impact was estimated between $65 and $95 billion. There's a huge cost-benefit ratio going on here. And that's, money matters. How you spend your time and effort matters, and where you can collaborate on shared these building blocks as a community allows organizations, companies to build differentiation, innovation on top of and around that matters to the world, and that matters to the business as well. Those incremental and additive value that comes on top is tremendously powerful and takes lots of investment and lots of engineers to bring to fruition. And you can be part of that, whether you're in engineering, marketing, or any other facet of the business, you can have impact there. In fact, we're looking for more and more help all the time. And now that we see that, that idea coming into open hardware, RISC-V is really at the center of that. The growth charts that we see on the predictions of where this is going to be in the next few years are off the charts. Right now, we are on track and have been tracking steadily towards 80 billion RISC-V CPU cores by 2025. This reality is here today. In fact, we're seeing us on track to be 10% of automotive CPUs, 28% of IoT. This is bridging not only in embedded and small devices, but all the way through to enterprise. This is the time. We are changing the course of history with RISC-V, and there has never been a brighter time and never been more demand for folks who want to engage in the RISC-V world. In fact, this is happening already today. More than nearly 25% of all CPU designs today already incorporate RISC-V. So think about the different industries that are interesting to you. Is it automotive, data center, is it AI, ML, which seem to be in everything, possibly even my toothbrush. But think about how fast this market is growing. Remember that helpful tip on go where the growth segments are? You can't go wrong with RISC-V. So as you think about your career, if you think about the massive opportunities around us, build RISC-V into your company strategy, into your team mission, and into your personal career. There's never been a brighter time, and I promise you will make friends with the brightest that are driving this industry forward. And this is a fundamental accelerator to your career. You will be shoulder to shoulder with the folks who are changing the world and changing technology for generations to come. So thank you. I appreciate your time today. You're welcome to connect with me. Hey, here's a QR code. That's something I didn't have before. I used to just have business cards, but connect with me. Follow us, join us. I look forward to meeting you in the community.
Hello and welcome to the RISC-V Virtual Career Fair. My name is Tyler Moore and I'm the Global Vice President of Talent Acquisition at Sci-Fi. Today I'd like to share with you a few tips to help with the interview and to brand you. We'll start by covering planning and preparation. Secondly, we'll talk about process and expectation. And thirdly, 5 helpful tips for your success in your next interview. In terms of preparation and planning, I like to follow the 3 M's: micro, macro, and me. When we think of the macro, understand the industry, what are the recent trends, any shifts in the environment, new technologies and influences, what is currently shaping the industry itself. Next, I'd like to plan and prepare around the micro level, which is much more focused at the specific company. Do your homework and your research on the company. Know the space they occupy in their ecosystem and their competitors, learn their products and business, know who you will be speaking to and some information about their background. And then lastly, in terms of planning and preparation, focus on me. Spend time to get to know you. What are your experiences? What are your strengths? What are your passions? Share your story and your journey with examples and data. This is your moment to brand you. Let's talk a little bit about the process and expectations. You'll largely move through 3 major gates: a technical screening, a team interview, and some form of closing or offer stage conversation. In the earlier phases of the interview process, the expectation is more along alignment of skills, knowledge, and abilities to the needs and requirements of the job. As the process continues to later stages of the interview, the expectation evolves to a deeper connection and understanding of capabilities, problem solving, analytical skills, and a lot around potential and value to the organization with a longer term aspect. And then the later stages of the interview process, much more focus on company and team alignment and fit. Do your career motivations and goals align to those of the team and the organization itself? Let's close today with just 5 helpful tips for your next interview. Be an active listener. Notice both verbal and nonverbal. Be prepared to provide feedback and show your attentiveness in the interest of the topic. Second, be aware of your body language. Be mindful and stay present. Display your interests in the subject. and lean into the exchange. Thirdly, stay positive and passionate. Keep a growth mindset. Share examples that you're proud of. Highlight your achievements. Fourth, know your core strengths and motivations. Know your unique skills. Know what your passions are. Understand how you can bring value. And fifth, be transparent and authentic. Be and share who you strive to be. Be comfortable with your development areas. Build a connection. Remember, brand you. Thank you for your time today. I hope you enjoyed the virtual career fair, and best of luck on your journey.
Hello, my name is Jeff Shue. I'm a technical program manager with RISC-V International, and I'm here today to share a few nuggets with you you can take on your career journey. Because our time is short, let's go ahead and just jump right in. I'm calling today's talk, What I Wish I Knew Then That I Know Now. We could think of it as hindsight is 2020. Let me talk about where I began this journey and what my background is. I have a bachelor's in computer engineering from the University of California at Davis. I've worked 30 years in the industry, beginning at HP, working most of my career at IBM, spent a little bit of time at Canonical, and now I'm at the Linux Foundation working on RISC-V. Jobs I've had or areas I've worked in, we could call it firmware, hypervisors, operating systems, some of it closed source, some of it open source, most of it in and around Linux. Types of assignments, you can say, I've been a programmer, I've been a team lead, I've been an architect, a manager, technical program manager, and a technical executive. Net, I like to say I've coded, I've built, I've strategized, I've hired, I've fired, I've trained, promoted, and developed talent. And to this day, I remain committed to developing the next generation of technical leaders. What I wish I knew when I was getting started. We could spend hours on this topic. Reality is, we'll distill it down to three key things that I think you can take away and apply and really have a fruitful, it will help you get started down the right path in a fruitful career. First thing I would recommend as you're getting started is find somebody who works in your field and use them as a mentor. What do I mean by mentor? I've got that word in quotes. Well, first of all, I like to describe mentoring as a penalty-free environment. You can essentially ask anything, which means you can then leverage this person to be your expert. You can get insight from them, you can get lessons from them. Because it's penalty-free, when you're done, you can move on, find another mentor, or even have multiples at any given time. What might you ask these mentors early in your career? What did they do? How did they get there? Why did they do it? What lessons did they learn? And you can carry that sort of mentoring into jobs where, as you begin to have your first full-time employment experience, you'll questions like, how do I get promoted? What does it take to get a raise? Why did my manager say that? Or what did they mean by this? These are all examples of what a mentor can do for you very early in your career. I'd be remiss, if you're looking for resources, to not say, go look at the RISC-V mentorship program. We've got some great opportunities out there. Those are activities both that you can do and people you can meet. But like I said, you'll also find mentors around your family, at your university, in your place of employment. Look around, find somebody you respect, leverage what they learn, and oh, by the way, someday you might be a mentor. Second item I'd recommend. Early in your career, explore a variety of things so you can learn what you like and what you don't like. If you're still in college, that experience is likely something called an internship. I recommend students in technical degrees do at least one, if not two internships. These internships allow you to demonstrate and put on your resume the skills that you've acquired and the people who've evaluated those skills so that future employers can decide whether you'd be a good fit for them. On top of that, these internships pay quite well. They're for a fixed duration. At the end of the time, you get to go back to being a student and take the lessons that you've learned with you. For me personally, this was very critical. Growing up in a family of doctors, I had no tech people to ask questions of. So when I got to school, I discovered that I had a good friend on the basketball court who was a couple years ahead of me in a slightly different degree. But he said to me, Jeff, you need to do an internship. He said, I'll help you get your resume done. I'll get you to the interviews. You can do this. I'll help you. Well, turned out John was right. I did my first internship with IBM. That turned into a second internship, turned into a full-time job at some point later in my career. And yes, I rewarded John. He was best man at my wedding. Great advice. Really appreciated that. Helped me shape what I'm doing. In fact, I think you can argue that was a life-changing advice and set of decisions. Early on, when you do get that first job, you have additional opportunities of how to find these short-term assignments. Managers are constantly saying, if only we had enough time to do this, or maybe they'll go so far as to ask a team or the department, anybody have some extra time to work on this special project? Studies have shown that early career employees that focus only on their topic or only on their area of expertise, even if they become very proficient, are not viewed as highly and regarded as well as those employees that branch out, help people with things, and I will argue volunteer for these sorts of activities. So 1, you'll be perceived better. 2, you'll get an opportunity to work on something for a finite period of time. And you may ultimately, out of it, learn that you like or don't like something that will shape your career as you move forward. So my second piece of advice is explore these opportunities either through internships or for volunteering for these sorts of special projects very early in your career. And that will really help you clarify your interests. Final thing I'd like to spend a little time talking about is open source software. As early and tenure employees or college students, getting engaged in open source software, even if you want to be a hardware engineer, is a great way to learn skills and build your resume. Let's just admit software is everywhere. We're using spreadsheets, we're running tools that need scripting around the outside, there's APIs to everything. Software is everywhere. A lot of it and more of it every day is open source software. It is reshaping how technology is done. It's reshaping hiring and compensation. So this is a very good set of activities. So go find something that you enjoy in open source, whether it's you can be a tester, you can be a coder, you can do documentation, and go engage and offer up some time in these communities. The side effect this has is it leaves, again, a public track record of things that you've done, and it gives you a place outside of work where you can explore skills that you might not yet be at in your career or that you may need work on. Listen, there's nothing more humbling than when you go submit your first patch to a community and somebody comes back and tells you it could be better. We all need that experience of interacting with people technically and being able to do so in an open source community, build a public track record, and engage in these sorts of activities is only going to make you a stronger employee in your 9-to-5 day job. And besides, you may find you like some particular area and actually end up working there in the long run. So I think If you're looking for these sorts of opportunities, there are, of course, several RISC-V places. They're on the screen here that you can look at. But really, any place in GitHub or GitLab or any of these open source communities is a great place to find a chance to engage with open source software. So my final advice to you is, you've got this. Good luck. You obviously know that you're doing the right things because you're here, engaged in the career fair. You're going to be successful. So I have utmost confidence in you. Enjoy the rest of your career fair. Thank you very much for your time.
Hi everyone. Are you planning to pursue your career in RISC-V? If yes, then it's a smart choice. This is Ishan Rafiq. I'm a RISC-V ambassador. I did my bachelor's in computer systems engineering from University here in Karachi, Pakistan back in 2021. I am also one of the youngest RISC-V ambassadors. Back in the days when I was in third year of my undergraduate studies, I started exploring about RISC-V and computer architecture. In no time, I was able to design my own RISC-V architecture processor. Since then, I have been associated with the RISC-V for 2 years now. When I became the RISC-V ambassador, I already had 2 years of experience in this field. RISC-V helped me a lot in shaping my career, especially I got an opportunity in Google Summer of Code as a mentee last year. And this year, I am mentoring one project which is also related to the RISC-V. What I really like about RISC-V is the open source aspect of it, because the ISA specification is available to everyone, and anyone can design his own processor according to his need. And there are many processors available on online which you can use in your own projects. So RISC-V is also a modular ISA, which means there are many extensions which a user can implement to meet his design specification needs. RISC-V started a new era of processor designing, and when we talk about new processor, it means there's a huge need of software toolchain as well. So it means RISC-V has paved the way to many career opportunities in the field of software and hardware design. You might be aware that NASA chose RISC-V based processor for the future space missions. This is how the RISC-V is changing the world and creating impact globally. So what are you waiting for? Grab your bags and join us.
Hi, my name is Deborah. I'm a senior engineer at Sci-Fi working on scalable hardware tooling. And today I wanted to talk to you all about how I got to where I am in my career right now. So I work at Sci-Fi. I believe Professor Stanovich was the opening speaker today. So he and some of the other creators of RISC-V at Berkeley founded Sci-Fi. And our goal at Sci-Fi is to lead the RISC-V revolution by providing quality RISC-V core IP. So within Sci-Fi, I work on a variety of scalable tooling for designers and verification engineers, but a lot of what I do works with Chisel, which some of you may have heard of. Chisel is an open source hardware description language, which is part of CHIPS Alliance. And CHIPS Alliance is a collection of open source hardware tools. So you can imagine the community at CHIPS Alliance overlaps quite a bit with the community at RISC-V. So our team is called Chisel and Additional Technologies. It's abbreviated CAAT, and we are referred to as the CAT team for a multitude of reasons. Here's a sampling of some of our team cats, my own in the bottom right. Yeah, so how did I get to this team? So I started studying EECS at Berkeley in 2013 and graduated with my BS in 2017. And when I was there, I got my first taste of computer architecture in CS61C, and I was really hooked on that topic. And I ended up taking, I think, every single computer architecture course at Berkeley, which was only like, there's only like 3 or 4 of them. But in those classes, I was exposed to RISC-V, most notably in EECS 151, where we built our own RISC-V core. And then I did some research actually with one of Professor Asanovich's students, and that was when I was exposed to Chisel. And then, of course, at Berkeley, I also did a whole bunch of other activities there. So I wasn't really just focused on computer architecture, but that was kind of where my interests were leading me at that point. And then after that, I went to Carnegie Mellon to do my master's. And over here, I also did a little bit of research relating to RISC-V, but I really explored a ton of different things that were not strictly computer architecture related. For example, I took machine learning classes, security classes, and then I took also a type theory class, which I didn't think at the time would really be relevant to computer architecture or where I would be today, but it surprisingly turned out to be really helpful because Chisel, what I work on now, is a Scala embedded language, and we use Scala as a functional language. So knowing a little bit of type theory really helped me be a better programmer in Scala, I think. So while I was at Carnegie Mellon, I also interned at Sci-Fi with the verification team. And then in 2019, I rejoined the verification team as a full-time employee. And I was doing scalable tooling from the get-go pretty much, because at Sci-Fi we work a lot with generators. So we have scalable design. We're able to create a bunch of unique designs pretty quickly. So of course, to verify all of these designs, we have to create scalable verification infrastructure as well. So I did things like generated memory models and other sorts of generated verification collateral. And I continue to express interest in working with scalable tooling. And eventually in 2020, I moved to the CAT team, where I now work on creating scalable tooling, not just for verification engineers, but for designers and like power architects and just people all over the company, other engineers. And that's where I am today. And I feel like presenting it like this, my career path looks really linear, but living through it and working through it, it really wasn't all that linear. I sort of bounced around between different interests. And it just so turned out that computer architecture was probably my strongest interest. And it was where I was sort of leaning towards the whole way, even though I didn't really know it at the time. So for all of you out there who maybe you're still in school or you've just started your career, I really want to encourage you all to keep exploring and be open to new experiences and try things, even if they may not seem to be the best possible thing at the moment. Just, yeah, be open to new experiences. All right, thanks. Bye.
Hi, I'm Steven. I'm the Senior Director at Andes Technology, and I run engineering operations from North America. I've been working on CPUs for most of my career, moving from back-end place and route, taping up chips, verification, design, architecture, and now management. Now, just when I feel that I've been in this industry for a long time, a veteran of the field, I'm reminded that Bing here has been around even longer. So tell me, Bing, how long have you been in this profession, and what captured your interest for so long?
Hey, thanks, Stephen. Yeah, I have been with the industry for over 30 years, and I started my career as an intern with Motorola AMD. And the reason I pursued CPU design as my first job out of school is because computer architecture is a fundamental knowledge of a modern electronic industry. I can leverage the CPU design architecture experience to pursue other interests that can further broaden my knowledge. I started my career as a circuit designer and moved my way up to architect. And every step of the way, I must continue to acquire new knowledge. The more I learn, the more I found out what I do not know. And it feeds to itself. I guess curiosity is part of my nature, and learning become part of my daily life.
I see. And I've heard that you recently joined Andes. So tell me, what made you choose Andes and how do you like it so far?
Yeah, I joined Andes 3 months ago from Meta, and I was working on AR/VR product at Meta. But when I found out about the opportunity at Andes, I got excited because I believe RISC-V will revolutionize the CPU industry. The CPU industry used to belong to a very exclusive circuit of companies that have the resource and financial capability to participate in this business. But the RISC-V architecture will completely change the business model and CPU industry, and I want to be part of it. Every time I consider a career move, I always ask myself 2 questions. The first one is, how can I contribute in my new role? And because they pay me for something that I can add on the value to the company, right? But the second part is also important, which is, what can I learn or gain from a new position? I don't want to do the same thing what I did. I want to be able to acquire new experience or knowledge from this new opportunity. Money is important, don't get me wrong, but it never be my motivation for the change. I believe if you arm yourself with the necessary skills, the money will flow your way naturally.
Okay, I see. So pursuing a job that shares your passion is one thing, but how does one become successful at it? I mean, this industry has changed a lot and it's still changing, right? When I started my career, it's a very different time. The players were different. EDA tools haven't matured yet. There are many companies still doing full custom jobs. UVM wasn't invented or hasn't been standardized yet, and every company had their own verification philosophy and approaches. I mean, what do you think, Bing? It's a constantly changing landscape. So how does one manage their career and develop skills that they need?
Everyone is different, and you need to ask yourself, what is your passion? I choose to stay in the technical path because I enjoy the gratification when I solve a problem and working on the technical issues. For me to stay in this industry, I had to continue upgrading myself. This industry will continue to evolve with or without you. If you do not keep it up, you will be left behind, and it will be hard to catch it up once you are in that situation.
Okay, I see. And I think I agree too. Like, you're saying one needs to evolve and constantly improve. And now that I think about it, looking back 25 years ago, I had a ton of questions. There's a lot I didn't know. And the frustration is I couldn't search for answers. I didn't know where to look. Nowadays, we have the internet. We can easily search for information. And I think engineers don't have an excuse for not learning anymore. Everyone should all take some time from the work and look up and observe, see how the engineering community is changing. I learned about other architectures. If you're a designer, learn about DV. If you're a DV engineer, learn about architecture, so on and so forth. What do you think?
Yes, but you want to join a company that provides you those kind of opportunities, right? Yes, some companies may offer career path, but some may not. It is better to do your own career management and work in a company that offers opportunities for you to grow.
And I'm so glad that you said that, because at Andes Technology, we are offering many opportunities right now. We are hiring designers, architects, software, hardware engineers, verification engineers, managers across the globe. So a message to all listening to this: if you want to pursue an engineering career, if you want to grow your knowledge and become more, come look for us, Andy's Technology. We are on LinkedIn and our website at andystech.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Looking forward to see you join us.
Thank you.
All right, what a great start. How did everyone think? Feel free to write in the chat, your favorite talks or what you're thinking. If you're feeling excited, definitely let us know what you think of the event. We're excited about it. So now we're going to take a quick pause, a break. Feel free to take a walk, stretch, whatever you need to do. But I am going to send everyone into breakout rooms, which is a cool opportunity for everyone to sort of meet in small groups. So it is random and you don't have to meet if you don't want to. I think you can turn your videos on. So if you can, I highly recommend meeting each other on video. Just to get the conversation started, we recommend that you go around the room and say your name, where you're from, what your education level is, and what's your dream job. Hopefully it involves RISC-V, but if not, we just want to know what your dream job is. And again, if you have any issues, feel free to direct message myself, Helen, or Thea. We'll be going in and out of the breakout rooms just to check in and make sure everyone has what they need. Other than that, we hope you enjoyed the first part of the talks and are feeling excited about your future with RISC-V. So we'll take that break now and I will shoot you all into rooms. And Jeff's available too. Here you go. All right, and everybody's coming back. I don't know about you, but I was jumping through all the rooms, right? Just making sure people were able to hear each other. So cool. I mean, people were on video from all over the world, sharing their LinkedIn, talking about their career paths. I feel really good. I'm excited. I'm so happy you're all here. Please do, share your contact details with each other. You can do it over in the chat. You'll see there's general and DMs. So you should be able to direct message people. Let me know in the chat if you're not able to. I know I have different rules on my account. But we're so happy that you enjoyed the breakout rooms. Love seeing that. There are definitely a lot of people from Germany that I know that are involved. So feel free to email me if you'd like intro to them. But if there's anyone from Germany here, please let us know. And without further ado, we will continue with the talks.
Hi everyone, my name is Fatma Rashid and I'm a design verification engineer working at Tenex Engineers, which is a semiconductor company based in Lahore, Pakistan. So today I'm going to be talking about my RISC-V journey. It all started back in 2019 when I graduated in electrical engineering. Soon after, I joined an organization in Milan whose aim was to train people in the area of semiconductors, particularly RISC-V, and prepare them for jobs in the industry. So at the time, Network launched its first train to recruit program, and I became one of the 25 people who formed the first cohort for this program. So the training period came from Milan. It lasted for about 6 months to which we were trained in the areas of design verification. We started with basic computer architecture and then we moved on to the verification of actual RISC-V course. So those 6 months of training did not at all come easy to me. I was an electrical power systems graduate and had no prior experience in this field. So I found myself to be lost and confused most of the time. But I think that's true for any career path because the experience is completely full of bumps. But what these experiences do for you in the long run is worth the challenges that they put you through, I believe, because they also enable you to meet some really amazing people along the way, your friends and your mentors who help guide you through and make the unknown less scary. So I also have met with some really amazing people, and I believe that what actually contributed to the success of this training was that RISC-V, it is always very, very welcoming and a strong community. So this meant that all the resources that we required, everything that was freely available on the internet, and that could easily be deployed. It also meant that we had access to actual commercial projects that we could work on and we were prepared for jobs in this field. So the two verification projects that we worked on during our training, they used Western Digital's Swerve E2 processor and Sci-Fi's E21 processor. I think that this also highlights the fact why we chose to start with RISC-V instead of the already established architectures. RISC-V, it had been introduced just recently and weren't much behind. So we were able to catch the RISC-V wave early. Also, since RISC-V is free and open source, so we do not have to pay any royalty fees to work on it or acquire its resources. On the contrary, had we chosen to work with the other established architectures, say ARM or x86, we would have required a significant amount of capital to work on it and experience personnel as well. And not to mention that the community would not have been as welcoming as RISC-V has been. But I think with a lot of credit from this also goes to Dr. Naveen Shirwani, Dr. Krista, Dr. Yansukri, and some of the Sci-Fi team members who came to Pakistan and they trusted us with this initiative. It was a willingness to invest in our country that actually sowed the seeds for setting up semiconductor ecosystem in Pakistan later onwards. Today, the people who trained at Campo Milan are serving at several startups across Pakistan. So now going over back to the journey, I concluded the training period and started working as an associate design engineer in Milan. For a year, I worked on verification projects that involved RISC-V cores from Sci-Fi. And in June 2021, I joined Linux Engineers as a design verification engineer. So I would like to take a moment here to explain what a verification engineer does and what are the subjects that I had to learn to become one. And so there are multiple steps involved in the design and verification of a chip. So once we have the design ready, we need people to test that the design is behaving as per the intent or the specifications provided. So that's basically where verification engineer comes in. They have to ensure that there are no bugs or untested scenarios left in the design, because any bugs, if present, have to be caught before the verification process. Because unlike software bugs, the cost of fixing hardware bugs is actually lower to me as a problem. So as for the subjects that I have to learn, they included basic system logic design, computer architecture, real-time design, operating systems, embedded C programming, object-oriented programming, and some basic tools such as Git and Make. So to conclude, I think we can all agree that RISC-V has indeed revolutionized the era of processor innovation, and it has provided everyone with an equal opportunity, irrespective of their geographical location, to contribute towards the development of this architecture. Thanks to RISC-V, now companies can design and fabricate chips without having to worry about paying any royalty fees or an association to a big organization. This has opened up the doors to innovation like never before. My advice to students would be that any graduate who is considering a career in this field should definitely explore RISC-V, because the opportunities to learn here, they are tremendous, both on the software and the hardware side. You also don't have to worry about any capital or being part of the organization to work on this architecture. Anywhere in the world can contribute towards this architecture. And you can be part of open source developments, you can create your own startups, you can be part of some big company, or you can work independently. The choices here are limitless. Before I end, I would also like to point one more thing. It's often our fear of certain subjects that drives our career choices, because, as I mentioned, I was an electrical power systems graduate because I always felt that I would not be able to excel at anything that involved programming. But I had the chance to challenge myself, and it has been a very big challenge, but I had that chance to challenge myself and learn that with the right amount of perseverance and effort, anything is possible and anything can be achieved. And that's something that I would like to pass along today as well, that you will not know what you're built of until you put yourself to test. So I think I'm now better able to understand what Robert Frost also meant when he wrote that two roads diverged in a word, and I chose the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Thank you.
Hi, I'm John Waddell, Chief Scientist at Tactical Computing Laboratories, and this is the RISC-V Everywhere, from IoT to HPC. A little bit of history behind Tactical Computing Labs. I'm actually the company founder. I founded the company in 2016. We're currently based in a little town called Munster, Texas, which is north of the Dallas-Fort Worth General Metroplex. We are a small business, but interestingly enough, we have employees in Texas, California, New Jersey, Delaware, South Carolina, and that list is actually continuing to grow. We're 100% remote. We do have some physical offices, but we allow people to have a fantastic work-life balance by allowing 100% remote work with no minimum amount of travel required. Unlike some of the other RISC-V organizations out there, we actually operate like a private research lab. We operate in a very similar manner to a national lab, except we are 100% private, which allows us to work on some very interesting, I guess more advanced computing and research and development projects, much further beyond what most large organizations are willing to work on. We're 100% employee owned, and we have no venture capital, no external investment, which effectively means that we are allowed to operate in a manner that allows us to go and very quickly and in a very agile manner pivot to very interesting projects. There are two main company principles, myself being one. I have about 20 years in experience in high performance computing. When inside TCL, I actually lead application development, compiler development, and performance analysis projects. Whereas my business partner and the other company principal, Mr. David D'Onofrio, he also has about 20 years of experience, but in FPGA design, ASIC design, and prior to joining TCL, David was actually the architecture lead for Lawrence Berkeley National Lab. And as a company, what we're really seeking to do is change the face of high performance computing by merging these concepts of co-design and traditional hardware software architecture design and development in order to really spur some interesting change in the industry as a whole. And so we do this by attacking this in three ways. So first we have your basic system architectures, your system architecture concepts, we have algorithm design, and we have software architecture design. So on the system architecture side, we look at processor architectures, we look at memory architectures, and we look at interconnect architectures all the way down to the physical level. On the software architecture side, we deal in compiler architecture. So right now we have about half a dozen different compiler or compiler extensions in development. We look at development tools, and we look at runtime architecture. And on the algorithm side, we look at just pure algorithm porting and optimization. We look at numerical libraries, and we look at what we call architecture exploitation, or how do you build new algorithms for novel architectures, largely based on RISC-V. And all these concepts we actually build using various different baseline or extensions to the RISC-V ecosystem. So we work in all levels of the design, algorithm, and software architecture areas in order to build truly efficient hardware software co-design ecosystems using the RISC-V ISO specs. So one of the interesting things about working here at TCL is our industry research opportunities. So since we operate much like a national lab, we actually encourage advanced research. Many of our internal researchers actually find new research opportunities that we build proposals for, we get funding for, both in private industry and through national labs and other different government sponsorships. And these turn into some very interesting projects. And the interesting thing about this is, even though they are actually built using an industry-based organization like TCL, a lot of them are very open. In many cases, they're completely open source. And from that perspective, we allow all the researchers inside to actually publish their work. So we continually publish, we sponsor the travel and all the necessary accoutrements to go to academic and professional conferences. We do a lot of participation in the RISC-V Foundation. I'm actually the co-chair of the Special Interest Group for High Performance Computing, as is my colleague David. And I'm also the chair for the Technology Horizontal Committee, which, oddly enough, the SIG-HPC actually falls under. We also highly promote our internal engineers and researchers that participate in other community organizations outside of just the RISC-V Foundation. Things like the LLVM Foundation and the LLVM development ecosystem, the Apache Foundation, and the Apache, various different Apache-based development projects, all the way up to things like Linux kernel development and other various different Linux Foundation organizations. But more importantly, All this really boils down to the fact that we really want everyone inside TCL to grow and continue their professional networks with open collaboration. We absolutely expect everyone to continue collaborating with their current or former and potential future colleagues in and around computer science, computer architecture, and high performance computing industries. And we do this with, just as a couple examples, with a few of the projects listed here on the right. The Open Sock System Architect project is a rapid co-design framework that we actually developed inside TCL. It's completely open source. The entire infrastructure is open source. It's licensed under an Apache 2.0 license, and we have roughly half a dozen publications of the various different designs that we've pushed through System Architect. And basically, the whole goal behind System Architect is to take a design specification, compile it down to something that's discernible, and output chisel and an LLVM compiler from that design specification. Another interesting project is the XBGAS project. We're actually developing extended memory semantics for the RISC-V ecosystem. And this would effectively allow us to do distributed global shared memory on an HPC system using just basic microarchitectural techniques. The final one listed here is what we call the REV simulator. REV is actually a component inside the SST parallel discrete event simulator infrastructure that allows us to do cycle-based experimentation with a simulated RISC-V core inside a very large-scale, scalable simulation infrastructure like SST with a cycle-based cadence. So in terms of the current opportunities available here at TCL, we're actually looking for two classes of individuals to come in and join our research teams. One is an HPC hardware engineer, where that person would be interested in processor design, FPGA development on both Xilinx and Intel platforms, and also potentially ASIC development. We do a lot of chisel work here inside TCL, but chisel is not entirely required. Verilog VHDL are also fantastic, but this position is 100% remote with no travel required. So if you're interested in doing RISC-V hardware development, we absolutely want to speak to you. On the other side, we also have positions available in the HPC simulation developer world. We have a number of interesting projects coming up. We're actually developing some scalable HPC infrastructures and architectures or architecture extensions using RISC-V, where we're doing a tremendous amount of modeling and simulation based largely around Sandia's SST parallel discrete event simulator. So this individual is going to have strong C++ and Python development experience, but not necessarily rooted entirely in SST. So if you have experience in Gen 5 or QEMU, this would be a fantastic position to consider. Also 100% remote and no travel required. So if you're interested, check us out at TechCompLabs/jobs. Thank you very much for listening to my talk.
Hi, my name is John, and welcome to my session on how to fall into a career you didn't expect or I didn't expect. So quick background on me. I'm the Director of Solution Engineering at Andes. I have extensive background in processing, in CPU, DSPs, and application-specific processors. Prior to Andes, I spent last 30 years in processor companies like Sci-Fi, MIPS, and ARC in various roles, and I worked in consumer electronics companies like LG and HP. And yes, I'm a Trojan from the University of Southern California. As of July this year, I am retired, and now I'm more of a part-time mentor in this technology. So here's when I grow up statement. Like everyone else, I had inspiration. It was the $6 Million Man. And education-wise, as I said before, I went to USC and had a career that is full of events and questions and learning. So let's talk about my education. Like a lot of Asian American parents, my mother wanted me to be a doctor. So I naturally fell into pre-med track. But I always loved computers and processing. So I found a college major called biomedical engineering. So I set out to search colleges with this degree, and surprised, back in 1980s, it was not a popular degree. Many colleges I talked to did not have it, but luckily for me, USC had this perfect major, a double major, biomedical and electrical engineering. Hey, made my mom happy, made me happy, life was good. Well, ultimately, I ended up in medical school, and quickly I decided it wasn't for me. Luckily, this was my first biggest failure in my life because I just could not give shots. But this led to a new career path that I didn't really thought I would be pursuing. My first 10 professional years, after medical school, I started graduate school at Cal State University, Long Beach. And then I got a job as a software optimization engineer at a small startup. And life was good. However, there was my first discontinuity. Desert Storm. Saddam Hussein decided to throw a big party, and Uncle Sam, gave me a tour to Iraqi desert. After that, I came back and got a job at Tektronix as an applications engineer, sales manager, and ultimately digital design specialist. I learned a lot about CPU design, CPU sales, and how to communicate technology with other people. I leveraged that in '95 as a position of technology sourcing specialist at LG. Everyone knows LG. And it led me to consider law school. I enjoyed contracting, reading about new technologies and how to invest and make things happen. But ultimately, my decision was, hey, I'm a technologist, I'm an engineer. So I joined HP as a systems engineer and ultimately became consulting systems engineer, a technical manager role. So that was great. And then about year 2000, big internet boom happened. And I started to see my friends go to small companies become millionaires. So 2000, I joined ARC. It was a CPU IP company, pre-IPO. And I joined as FAE manager, and ultimately director of solution architect. And my first almost paper millionaire event that didn't pan out. So I joined 2004, I joined Super H to be with my friends, have fun. The company didn't do so well. And then I ended up at MIPS. So 2004 was an interesting time. I worked at 3 different companies. So at MIPS, I started as solution architect, got promoted to solution architect director. And then I was ultimately promoted to director of strategic sales. So this was my second 10 years in career where I was bouncing between, again, technology and business side. Last 10 years of my career was punctuated by a lot of time at MIPS. MIPS Part 2 was acquired by Imagination Technologies. I was back to being an FAE, and I was director of FAE. Part 3, MIPS was acquired by Wave Computing. I was the director of FAE for CPU, and I had a big life discontinuity, number 2, which was to be a dad. Spend time with my family for a year, and one of the greatest decisions. Lastly, I was an FAE, back to MIPS, working toward the end of a career, end of a company. 2019, I joined Sci-5. It was great. I joined as FAE and became a director of FAE. And 2020, I switched to Andes Technology to grow US business for a Taiwanese company as a director of FAE. So this is how I spent the last 10 years. Ultimately, I retired in July 2022. It was time to hand the baton to next generation. But what retirement means for me is doing things that makes me happy. So I work at part-time at Andes, more of a senior mentoring role, helping next generation, both at Andes and in the engineering world. And then I'm continuing my learning. I'm installing a central air conditioner in my home. It's in progress. And I know enough, never want to do this again. What's project next is a yard work and deck at home. And then lastly, this is the most important, planning travel. I've been around the world many times for business, but not really for personal travel since honeymoon 30 years ago. So I want to travel to places I've been to that I always wanted to go back. One example is Toronto. I know how to get from airport to the Marriott in downtown to a company, AMD and other companies in Toronto that some of them doesn't exist anymore. But I really never saw CN Tower closely or went to downtown Toronto to see what the Canadians really about. I want to do that in Canada, Asia, Africa, and Europe. So a lot of busy times for me, and I wanted to do it when I was young enough to enjoy everything. So here's my takeaway. Be flexible. Look for opportunities, not just in your field, but adjacent fields where you could leverage your expertise. But don't get stuck on titles. If I was stuck on becoming a director and VP, I might have missed a lot of opportunities to meet people and learn technologies that I didn't. Hey, you get promoted. If you're good, you will get promoted. Never stop learning. In my career, in my lifetime, my CPU technologies went from about 4 megahertz to 5,000 megahertz, more than 1,000 times faster. And that required a lot of technologies to happen to make that happen. And become an expert, okay? Be a master of one specific thing, or be a master of all trades, okay? Just like medicine, you could be a surgeon, you could be a family doctor that treats everything. Everybody's important, but you need a specialty. And not having specialty is a specialty. And don't forget the people skills. You have to communicate your technical skills to other people and be able to absorb other people's technology. And then lastly is have something you're passionate about, excited about. For me, it was CPU because it's heart of every technology. Okay, show me a technology without processor. It's the big C, central. Lastly, don't forget to have fun. Embrace life's discontinuities as opportunity to reinvent or reinvigorate. Okay. So with that in mind, let's have a word from my sponsor, which is Andes Technology. Andes is a 17-year-old pure play RISC-V CPU vendor. So we're a group of about 300 people promoting RISC-V in the world and getting very good success in mobile, IoT, storage, 5G, and AI spaces. We're doing really well. We're pushing the where RISC-V is used. Lastly, come work with us. We're hiring. Here's my email. Contact me. I would love to talk to you and meet with you and explore opportunities that's at RISC-V and Andes. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, the RISC-V community. My name is Valentina Troshkina, and I'm a recruiter, HR specialist at Codasep. Within the next couple of minutes, I would like to not just describe our company, but to give you several reasons to consider applying for it. So let me start with the company itself. Codasep is a founding member of RISC-V International and the first provider of commercial RISC-V processor IP. Experts in processor customization, our teams develop a cutting-edge technology to help our customers to get exactly the code they need. Founded in 2014 and based in Europe, we are today a global player in the processor design field through a strong portfolio combining over-the-shelf RISC-V processor IP and our unique custom design tools. A processor core description language Codal and Codasep Studio, our EDA tool that generates a complete customized hardware and software development kits. What could be catchy for students in particular is that to enrich RISC-V community and to ensure continued cooperation with academia, CODASIP offers a university program that aims to prepare the next generation of processor engineers by augmenting university undergraduate and graduate computer engineering curriculums and providing alignments, materials, assignments, and industry-grade tools. Headquartered in Munich, Germany, CODASIP currently has R&Ds and design centers in Europe, in the Czech Republic, in the United Kingdom, in France, Greece, and other countries, and sales representatives located all around the world, in China, Japan, the United States. As of today, we have around 180 employees working for us in 16 countries, and there are more than 19 official nationalities. CODASIPs continue to expand, so currently we're actively searching for hidden gems in the CPU domain, computer microarchitecture, hardware verification, digital design, and also software development, for example, C++ engineers, besides sales and marketing specialists and field application engineers. I cannot but highlight that we focus on prudent risk-taking and out-of-the-box thinking. At the same time, we cherish a startup culture we currently have and make sure that every specialist is aligned with the team, heard by the management, and given a chance to make a change both in company and industry. So I believe it's time to share with you some insight into the hiring process at CODASIP. As our proprietary language, Codal and EDA toolset, CODASIP Studio have been created to simplify the processor design. Our application process can be completed with just several clicks. So visit our career page or LinkedIn or RISC-V job section and apply for one or several positions with just a couple of minutes. Moreover, every job or application is looked over and replied to by the recruitment team. So we treat our candidates exactly as we treat our customers by taking into consideration every application and every request. Besides, here at CODASIP, we promote on-request services for our clients, being with them at every step of the RISC-V process of our design. Exactly the same approach is implemented in our recruitment. So once the hiring process is started, every candidate sails through it with a personal recruiter, who is the first point of contact, as well as the hiring partner from the first call through the technical round to the official onboarding and an adaptation period at CODASIP. At CODASIP, in our company, we respect our candidates' time and complete the recruitment process within 4 main stages, inviting our best engineers and team leads to participate. So these rounds include a 60-minute, rather informal introduction call with our representatives of the team or teams and the recruiter, then approximately 90-minute technical round with our experienced engineers or hiring leads or team leads and a recruiter. Then a short call with the recruiter regarding the candidate's requirements and the company employment conditions. And finally, if everything is going well, the official discussion of the offer with the hiring lead or team lead and the recruiter. If our candidate does not pass one of the stages by any reason, so a recruiter makes sure that the reasons are communicated clearly. Furthermore, we are always open to adjusting our hiring process. We try to customize it so we can speed it up, we can postpone it, we can add additional steps to it, for example, an official meeting with the team, or so-called office tour, or probably a call with our CEO, or maybe a short demo presentation with our CTO. So we do it almost as CODASIP Studio allows our designers and clients to add custom instructions and change microarchitectural features. So last but not least, the company's mission is to deliver the best RISC-V processors with a unique ability to customize and differentiate. So the same customization and differentiation applies to our hiring process. So what it means, you do not have to fill all the criteria of our job description. because we are not searching for template candidates. We tend to detect uniqueness, inventiveness, potential in our candidates, even if they have just started their careers. So to sum it up, let me probably encourage you and share with you a real example. When in 2004, our founder and current president, Karen Massajic, started working on his PhD thesis at the Brno University of Technology, covering a unique hardware, software, co-design technology. RISC-V did not exist. And then 10 years later, his work became a call for Codasip Foundation. So then RISC-V hit a stride, and Codasip was able to catch up as momentum and anchor itself as a prominent player in the global chip economy. Therefore, if you still have any doubts about whether to start the career, this professional journey, and be a part of RISC-V, so our advice is just step up, leave all these uncertainties behind, and choose the company that meets your expectations. So luckily, you have a choice, and today's career fair just proves it. So let me thank you for your attention. And in case you feel that this presentation somehow resonates with your career aspirations or fulfill your ideal employment, so start with a short, simple application and become a valuable member of the Codasip team. Thank you once again.
Hello, my name is Larry Lapidus. I'm Vice President of Worldwide Sales for Empirus Software. I'm part of the Empirus founding team. And I want to talk to you today about Empirus and joining us. So let's go. Let's have a quick overview of Empirus and then why you would want to work with us. So our founding story, our founding team has a background in electronic design automation tools and also FPGA and processor IP companies. Our founding vision was that embedded software development is ready to embrace simulation. So this is software simulation. And as in EDA, specialized tools and methodologies are required. And tools should be developed top-down, starting from these requirements. Today's focus at Empirus is on RISC-V, both on software simulation and also on design verification. For many of us in the founding team with a background not only in EDA, but specifically in design verification, this is a bit of a back to the future experience. Here's a quick overview of our environment for embedded software development, debug, and test. There are models for the virtual platform. These models are built with APIs that are supported by the simulator engine, and then there are tools that work with this. The key pieces here are the fast processor models. We support not only RISC-V, but also architectures like ARM and MIPS. We actually support 15 different instruction set architectures. The simulator engine is the second key piece of technology. This is the fastest, the highest performance simulator on the market. This is typically running at about 500 million instructions per second. It also has the Slipstreamer API for building non-intrusive tools. And those tools, as I mentioned, the verification, analysis, and profiling tools, these include things like profiling and code coverage and tracing of instructions, variables, of functions, OS-aware tools. There's quite a bit of capability there. And then we also have MPD, our multiprocessor debugger, which provides not only for source line debug of the processor, but also supports heterogeneous platforms and also supports introspection of the peripherals so that you can do driver peripheral co-debug. So that's the software side of things. What about the DB side of things? So here's our RISC-V processor DB flow. And there are three key pieces here. One is the RISC-V reference model. Empirus supports the whole range of the RISC-V specification. We have verification IP that goes with this that enables communication with the device under test, and also synchronization and comparisons. This supports a full, actually asynchronous step and compare flow for DV of the most complex RISC-V processors. It also uses the RVVI, the RISC-V verification interface, a new verification standard developed for RISC-V DV. If we look at our RISC-V customers and partners, there's actually a pretty extensive list. We see some of the top names in the RISC-V community here, organizations that have actually used RISC-V, not just for a proof of concept project, but actually put things in silicon. And then certainly we're an active participant with RISC-V International, and also we work with the processor IP vendors. Last, I'll point out that in addition to working with universities, we have a free RISC-V OVP Sim Plus product, a free instruction set simulator, and more than 100 different organizations are using this free simulator, either for software development or for DV. So let's talk about the top 11 reasons to join Empirus, because at Empirus, we always turn it up to 11. So starting with the first one, working for the leading company in the RISC-V ecosystem. So Empirus was a diamond or top level sponsor for the 2021 RISC-V Summit. We're again a diamond sponsor for the 2022 RISC-V Summit. We are the leading non-processor IP company in the RISC-V community. Second reason is learning about the complete RISC-V processor spectrum. The Empirus RISC-V models are configurable and support the full ratified specification, plus stable versions of the other extensions. It's easy for users to extend the model to add custom instructions. So you're not going to see RISC-V just from one vendor's perspective or one company's perspective. With that customer list, with that list of partners, you're going to see the full spectrum of RISC-V implementations. Third reason, working remotely. Everybody says that now, and everybody's done it for the past few years. Our headquarters are near Oxford, England. We have people working in Silicon Valley, elsewhere in California, in Ottawa, in Edinburgh. We were spread out even before the pandemic, and our remote work processes are well established. This is just part of our culture. You can be your own boss. We're a small company. We have a very flat organizational chart. We value people that are self-starters and work well independently. You can raise your industry profile. In 2022, half of the Empirus employees will give presentations on RISC-V related topics at industry conferences and seminars, including Embedded World, DVCon, DAC, and the RISC-V Summit. Support of these events is actively encouraged within the company. You can see those presentations on our website. You can also see most of those on our YouTube channel. Sixth reason to join Empirus is to work for a small company. We're small, but actually we have a larger than life profile. We are a diamond sponsor. Everyone in the company contributes to supporting our key customers. This is everyone pulling together in a small company. It's a great culture, great environment. Seventh reason is that we're not just a small company, we're a small self-funded company. There's no outside funding, no VC funding, no one looking over our shoulders. We're profitable, we're cash flow positive, we're funded by our continuing success with customers. You can work with proven entrepreneurs. The founding team averages 3.5 startups each. These startups have been successful not only from a business perspective, but the technologies that have been developed in these startups have outlasted the exits. The companies that we've started have developed technologies and were acquired for those technologies, and not just for the people, not just for one or two key customers. This is an important thing in building companies. RISC-V is where the Empirist credibility and technology intersect with market opportunity. Next, you can expand your DV horizons. Processor DV is very different from SoC DV. And with the accelerating adoption of RISC-V, processor DV experience will get you a job with any company building SoC, because 5 years from now, every SoC will have at least one RISC-V core. If DV isn't your thing, maybe embedded software is. So learning more about embedded software is something else you can do with Empirist, because today's products are defined by software. As much as we love RISC-V and we can build domain-specific processors with RISC-V, it's the software that's running on those that defines the products that users see. At Empirist, we bridge the hardware and software with our tools and models. Last, you can help customers solve their critical next generation problems. By the way, did you see that list of users and partners? This is a who's who in high tech, and you can go and help solve their problems. So just to reiterate, we've got these 11 reasons for joining Empirist. Thank you. You can find us at empirist.com. You can also send questions to me, LarryL@empirist.com. Thank you very much.
All right, what great talks. Thanks so much, everyone. I think Thea is going to pop on and tell us a bit more about RISC-V.
Yes, Megan, can you give me sharing permissions?
Yeah, I just need to stop sharing. Does that work?
Yes, it does.
Cool. All right, take it away.
All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Thea Clay, and I work for RISC-V International on the community and visibility team. And I am thrilled to be here with you today. Before I get started on just running through a couple of really incredible resources, I know we've had some amazing presentations from companies today, and I want to make sure that from the RISC-V International side, as well as also from the Linux Foundation side, you know about some of the opportunities both for amplification and betterment of your career in education, but also as viable employment opportunities. We are an amazing remote-only service organization that is entirely dedicated to making sure that from the RISC-V International side, that we're supporting all of the missions and strategic objectives of our members, and that includes really supporting the community. And then from the Linux Foundation side, making sure that all of the top tier benefits and organizational mechanisms are available to open source projects. And so, a little bit about myself. I'm coming to you live from Austin, Texas. And I'm, as I said, fully remote. And a few tips, I have a degree in government and philosophy. So, I come to the open source and open hardware and open standards community, kind of from left field. And I'm seeing more and more folks in the community management, marketing, strategic development, and programs planning side that are really finding success and opportunity in RISC-V and with all of our member companies. So I want to encourage you all, as you go out and engage with the RISC-V community, apply to jobs and really embrace everything, that we are here as a resource and that you feel good about the experience. You know, I am a full-time mom, graduate of the University of Texas, and you know, none of the things that I do on a day-to-day basis, like many of our speakers, were even around when I graduated from college. And so I want to encourage you all to really embrace the community. Remember that your growth isn't going to be linear. That's okay. In fact, it's even kind of wonderful. Embrace those pivot points in your career, and don't go at it alone. You have a community, you have resources, and you have people all over the world that are here to support and empower the work that you're doing. And then also embrace the adventure. You know, the tech and the destinations and the goals are going to change over time. But the passion and, you know, ability to find a group of people and a company that's going to support you and focus on the skills that are going to, you know, carry with you and become ubiquitous throughout your entire career, are really going to help you find a path that you can fall in love with and look forward to as you engage on your future endeavors. So some of these opportunities that we've got, the RISC-V ecosystem is incredibly diverse. We are active in, you know, basically at this point, all continents, including plus the International Space Station. And so there are opportunities basically all over the place, whether it's in marketing, technical innovation, even contributing to learning and talent resources. A couple of ways that, in addition to applying for and working for companies that are RISC-V organizations that you can get involved with, please check our events page. We've got a number of community events, global events, regional events. Most of these have a virtual aspect, or all of the videos are usually posted on the RISC-V YouTube channel. And so please try to attend those events. These are highly technical events, but they're incredible opportunities to learn, network, and put, you know, faces to a lot of the names and voices that you'll hear on the calls and such. We also have the RISC-V blog and case studies program, social amplification, and our technical exchange. And these are incredible ways for, if you're doing, you know, extra work at home or have a contribution to the open source community that you'd like to make, these are great ways to get your visibility up within that community, get some of your work exposed. And so please reach out. We'll provide some links at the end. If you've got a great tutorial or a great blog or even a really fun video of the work that you've done around RISC-V, that's another great way that we can help you raise your profile and get your name out and your work and sort of, as they say at Sci-Fi, get your brand out. And we're going to let Megan, because she's the manager of the Learn and the Talent sections of RISC-V, talk about those programs. And you met Jeff earlier today on the call. The last thing I want to mention before we get to the links is that we have the RISC-V Developer Boards program. And this is going to be, if you're interested in the intersection of software and hardware, and maybe you're a couple of steps away from really wanting, being in a position to dive headfirst into a full-time career in any one of our member companies. The Dev Boards program is an incredible way to engage with the open source community, provide meaningful contributions upstream, and also get your hands on some of the latest and greatest RISC-V hardware and start working with the people that you will eventually want to be professionally employed with. And so there's some incredible opportunities there. I want to remind you all, please join RISC-V International. Other than the Dev Boards program, you're going to need to be a free member as an individual to get a lot of the access. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Megan. We've got a ton of programs and links at the end of this presentation, so please check that out if you need any help. And thank you so much, and I look forward to working with you all.
Thank you. All right, awesome. I'm going to share my screen again and give you all apologies if you get overwhelmed by too many links open. I am a constant person that does that. So I just wanted to go over some of the resource pages that we have. Again, all these links are available on the event website. And if you stay to the end, you're going to get a really cool gift. So thanks, Thea, for that. So I'm just going to give you a quick overview of different sections of the website. So one of the first things I want you to know about, as Thea touched on, joining as a member is what gives you a lot of access and makes it able for you to attend the meetings. So right here, if you're an individual member, especially if you're a student, you can join as an individual. There's no cost. Just click on this button. It's found on membership. The next page I want to show you is our careers page. And it's been so cool to see all the jobs listed over the last couple weeks from a lot of the people you heard from today and from other members. You can just keep clicking load and you see all of the jobs listed. RISC-V International actually has a number of jobs as well available. So please take a look at that careers page. We're aiming for that to be your one-stop shop to see all of open jobs that involve RISC-V. The next page I want to show you is the RISC-V Exchange. This is fairly new. Our goal is to have the RISC-V Exchange be a one-stop for you to see all the hardware, cores, software, services, and learn items available. Each of these items you can click through and you just press learn more to read more. I'm on the learn section because that's where I typically live. Speaking of learn, on our website, so most of the initiatives I work on are here under the community tab. You can see the learn online section. These are all free courses that RISC-V International has worked with member organizations or members to help write courses for you all. So these are, again, all free, and you can find them all on the Learn Online tab. So be sure to take a look there. As many of the speakers said, learning is a never-ending process. The mentorship program. This is something I'm really excited about and hoping to expand next year. The mentorship program for the spring session, you can find all of the mentorships listed in mid-January. We're also going to have an event to tell you about all the mentorship programs that just happened in the last year, so you can learn more about what those opportunities look like. We do offer paid mentorships. The first person selected does have a paid mentorship, and then we do offer additional mentorships to other individuals on an unpaid basis. Mentorships are 20 to 30 hours a week, and you work directly with a mentor who is RISC-V expert. So it's a great opportunity and a great way to showcase your knowledge. So most of you came to this page to go to this event, but I just wanted to make sure you're aware that there are community groups all over the world. With the last few years, most of the events have been virtual online. And something cool is if you click into the groups and if you click join, that I'm already a member, if you click join, then it will automatically email you anytime there is an upcoming event. Something else that's cool is you can click into the past events and see the video of the event as well as the speaker slides. So you can rewatch most of these events as long as they were pre-recorded. You'll see a very similar to this page that you entered for this event. The video will be at the very top. Same thing. So then the other page I want to show you is just the basic Learn page. So Learn Online has those free courses I showed you. And then this is a direct link to our YouTube channel, so you can see all of our YouTube videos. The training partners are partners that are members of RISC-V International and do training programs. Be sure to check that out if you're looking for additional resources and trainings. The university program, we do have a list of university resources. Those are now in the RISC-V Exchange Learn section, like I showed you. And then you can also join another SIG that's great, and I manage it. It's the Academic and Training SIG. So that's where a lot of the professors come to talk about what they're working on, new projects, and we figure out ways to bring RISC-V into more universities. If you have a university that is interested in joining RISC-V or participating more, or you teaching RISC-V, please have them reach out to me. My email is just megan@riscv.org. All of our emails are just our first name @RISC-V. This is what everyone has been talking about, the working group server. So again, you have to be a member to register for all the different groups, but this is where you'll go to see all of the different groups. The next thing I want to talk about is the RISC-V Summit that is in December. So this is really exciting because we are offering diversity scholarships, not just to attend, but your flight, your hotel, and your travel. There's a limited number of these, and the deadline is approaching. It's the 30th, so in just a few days. But if you are really interested in RISC-V and you would like to attend the RISC-V Summit, please apply. We especially want these to go to underrepresented groups, to students from around the world. So I really encourage you to apply for those scholarships. If you don't want to apply for travel funding, you can also just apply for a ticket to the conference. So I encourage you to do that. The last thing is, this is our gift. I'm so excited about this. I'm sorry, I'm so excited. We have been working on this for a long time, a year and a half. So this is the RISC-V Foundational Associate Certification. It's going to be the first certification for RISC-V by RISC-V International. And this certification is for it's targeted to students that are graduating with an undergraduate degree. And we're hoping that this will be a really easy way for you to show with this badge and with this certification that you are knowledgeable in the basics of RISC-V. This certification was created by RISC-V experts, a lot of people who are managing the SIGs. And so it has a lot of thought and detail put into it. It's usually a paid certification, but I have 100 free beta testing that I'm going to give away. So those that attended this event will receive that coupon. It'll come to you in October. So please check out for emails from me into this group message. And essentially you'll get a code and you'll have 2 weeks to take the test. I only have 100 tickets and 250 people, I think, registered. So if you're interested in doing this, please register and sign up to take it right away. It's not an easy test. It's aimed to showcase your skill sets. So I'm really excited about this. It's, like I said, a lot of work has gone into it, and we're really excited to announce it. So last two things I wanted to put in the chat were Kirsta was supposed to be here, but a lot of things came up. So I talked to him and he sent me this video. So this is a longer video of what he was planning to do here. It's about the past, present, and future of RISC-V. So I highly recommend you check out that video. I just put that in the chat. And the other thing I want to give you is our RISC-V International Community Event link so that you can see all the community event videos that we have posted. So we've got some time for a little bit of Q&A. So I was going to open it up if anyone wants to throw some questions into the chat. We have a lot of experts on the line. So if you have any immediate questions, feel free to put them on, or I'm not sure you can raise your hand, but if you have questions, feel free to put them in there. Otherwise, I have some questions that we got within the in the form that you all filled out. So I'll just sort of go through some of those. One of the questions was, I have doubts about job opportunities, especially for women in STEM. And I guess I'll answer that. When you look around the room, there's a lot of women speakers on this event. There's tons of opportunities in all different fields, like Thea said, from technical to marketing to program management. So please see that and be encouraged by it. One of the other questions was, what languages and technologies are used most within the work RISC-V does? And our speakers answered, most platform enablement softwares is in C, but Rust is becoming more popular every day. Hardware design languages include Verilog and VHDL. Another question was, how can I excel in RISC-V while it's still evolving? A response from our speakers was, like all open source communities, work is needed at all levels, including test, documentation, and minor bug fixes. These are excellent ways to earn community karma, but also to learn and grow skills. Another question was, prospects in firmware and software development of RISC-V based products beyond the hardware manufacturer's scope. Our speakers said, like all new platforms, there will be a continuous need for platform enablement skills with ACPI, UEFI, OpenSBI, various OS kernels and tool chains, such as the Linux kernel, GCC, GLIBC, etc. The more platforms get developed, the more skills will be needed. What kinds of personal projects recruiters at RISC-V companies are hoping to see on portfolios? Our speakers said, we love to see open source projects based in GitHub, GitLab, or some equivalent hosting site. While most of these are software today, they trend towards open source. Soft cores is increasing daily. So please don't assume you have to write code to do open source. True, Larry, it is definitely evolving quickly. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. You know, as I think a lot of our speakers touched on, collaboration is so key to this community. And as Callista said in her opening talk, this is the time. There has never been more demand for folks who want to engage in the RISC-V world. We look forward to seeing you more in the future, and please always feel free to reach out to us. You can find us at careers@riscv.org, or as I said, at anyone's first name. And there will be a survey coming out to you. We are curious on how we can improve this event, as we'd like to have it be an annual event. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you again to the speakers. Thank you again to my team for all the work we put into this. I'm really grateful for everything everyone did. So thanks so much for joining, and we look forward to seeing you all again soon. Take care. Have a great day or night. Bye.